Hello, Alan from Decker's Landscape and Aquatics. This morning we woke up and there's just a little bit of a chill in the air and we're thinking, one of the most frequent asked questions we get this time of year is how do I winter my fish over? What do I do with my pond now that we're getting into fall and winter's down around the corner? So, we're just going to take a few minutes and go over how we winterize ponds and how we take care of the fish. So right now, as you look out your window this morning, I'm sure you see some leaves falling and there might be a few skimming across the top of your pond. If you're in a heavily treed area, what we tell most of our customers is that you should have a pond net. We have all different sizes and shapes. Over here you can see they come very easily packaged, so you can just pick up and grab whatever size net you need. If you keep that taut across your pond, as the leaves are falling, you'll be able to get them right off of there easily enough. If you have a mechanical skimmer in your pond, a lot of times if you're not in a heavy treed area, the leaves are going to kind of go right into your skimmer, and you can collect them out of the basket or debris net. But just keep in mind, this time of year, you should be checking that skimmer net or basket daily, just so your pump does not starve for water. So the other thing you can do is maybe you have just like a skimmer net with a handle, kind of like people use for their swimming pools, and you can get a little bit of the extra leaves out. But the leaves are one of those things that'll start to decay in your pond and cause problems for your fish down the road in the middle of winter. So you want to get most of those leaves out, or as much as you can, before those winter months. The other thing is that we have to keep in mind for keeping our fish healthy is that, our aquatic plants will start turning yellow now and start dying off. And that's getting about time. When you see them a little bit yellow, brownish, you can start trimming those off level with the water surface. We don't want the tops of those plants dying off, falling down into the pond, creating some kind of organic matter that's not healthy for your fish. You want to keep your ecosystem pristine right now this time of year, so whatever you can do to help those fish out is what you're going to have to do. So again, you're just going to trim off all your aquatic plants flush to the surface of your water. Now keep in mind, when I say that, I mean all the hardy aquatic plants. If you have tropical plants, you can do one of two things. You can either bring them inside the house and treat them as a house plant, or you can just throw them out kind of, how we treat our annual hanging baskets or container gardens. It depends on how much of a green thumb you have. To me, I just kind of treat them like an annual, toss them, and buy them again in the spring and just watch them grow all over again. But by all means, if you have a green thumb, you'll be able to winter those over in a nice sunny window. The other thing we want to keep in mind is people start to have a tendency to want to slack off their bacteria this time of year, but we do have a cold water bacteria. The temperatures of your water are starting to change. You still should add this beneficial bacteria right here, which is cold water. It's the same cold water bacteria that we use in the spring. So if you don't use all this up right now before winter comes, this has a long shelf life. This actual container is 2018. So as long as it doesn't freeze and you keep it in your house somewheres, you'll be able to just use this again in the spring if you don't use it up. And then after we're done with the regular cold water bacteria and our pond shut down, we also have this winter bacteria that we put in monthly throughout the winter in a hole in the ice. So these are very important components to help with keep the ammonia and the gases and break down all the nutrients that are not beneficial to your fish. So, that little bit of extra money to spend, a small bottle like this is probably equal to 2 people going out for a cup of coffee and having a muffin. So, that's the best analogy I can say. It's a very inexpensive way to make sure that your fish are wintered over properly. The other thing is that one of the main questions about fish is, hey, when do I stop feeding my fish? You got to stop feeding your fish when the water temp, not the air temp, but the water temp is 55 degrees and lower. Right now you can feed them a cold water fish food that usually is a water temp from 65 to 55, and it just helps prepare their immune systems for winter. It keeps them healthy. You don't have to overfeed them, but make sure you're giving them enough. And you really should have a thermometer, just an inexpensive thermometer to check that water temp, because you can't guess. You shouldn't be guessing at what type of food that you are actually going to feed your fish. And that's basically the very important parts of your system, is to keep the beneficial bacteria going, make sure that you don't have a lot of dead plant growth going to the bottom, get all the extra leaves out, and make sure you're feeding your fish proper. That pretty much covers how to keep the fish wintered over. The one thing a lot of people say is, hey, what is the proper depth to winter over fish. You can winter fish over in a 2 feet deep pond as long as you prepare it properly with a heater, which we have different style heaters, and we have winterization pumps and oxygen stones. You definitely need to have a hole in that ice in order to winter your fish over. So minimum depth would be about 2 feet and deeper. So there is a little bit of fluctuation. If you're shallower than 2 feet, you're going to want to keep an eye on that over the winter, because that's just a little borderline in our climate. But the winterization pumps are really good for taking and emitting those gases out of your pond and keeping a hole in the ice in conjunction with a floating heater. If you keep a floating heater about 3 to 4 feet away from your winterization pump, you're going to be able to keep a greater area open, and it'll emit the gases and any of that bad bacteria and stuff that might be breaking down over the winter months. Because you got to remember that even though your fish are dormant down there, the gases will still affect them. The other thing we recommend is don't put your winterization pump or your air stones at the very bottom of your pond. Maybe just up a little bit on a secondary shelf, so that way you're giving that a little bit more room there for the fish, and you're not really mixing the water temp or the thermocline in there. So in other words, with this, is our recommendation is to use a heater and a winterization bubbler. If your pond is too small for a winterization pump, then you can by all means use a pond aerator, and that'll help you too. It just depends on what size pond it is. And if you come in or give us a call, we'll be able to help you out and recommend exactly what you need for your size pond. The other thing is how do I treat my system for winter? In our climate, 98% of our customers shut their ponds and waterfalls down for the season, because over time with the cold weather, you'll get evaporation and water damming, and it'll cause the water to run out the sides of your stream and waterfall, which in essence creates a water loss. In the winters, we're not as good about going out and checking our ponds. If that happens, you could drain your pond down to an unsafe depth for your fish. So we close all of our systems down. So basically how we do that is on our pumps, we have a check valve. Once you release the check valve, all your water is going to backflow from your biofalls down back into the pond. Once you remove your pump, depending on what type of pump you have, some of the pumps have to stay in a bucket of water over the winter so the seals don't dry out. You just need to know what type of pump you have. Once that has backfed that water out of the biofalls, we take our rack out, we take our filters out, we make sure all that is clear in the biofalls and there is no water. We then take a shop vac or a leaf blower and we blow those lines out back to the skimmer, and we cap them so no water gets in them for the winter months. At that point, what we want to do is we want to clean our filters really, really good. If you clean your filters now, you'll be all ready for spring. And let's face it, after winter, we're all gung-ho to get out there and get our pond started. So let's get all that maintenance out of the way. Keep in mind, as you're going into the winter, it's a good time to check your components too. If you want to know if your filters need to be replaced in the spring, just give them a little tug. If they rip, then it's time to replace them. If they hold together pretty good, chances are you'll get another season out of them. So that kind of covers the biofalls area. And in the skimmer, depending on what type of skimmer you have, some of the Aquascape signature type skimmers, the bulk fittings are lower than the water level. So somehow, if you have one of the older skimmers, you just got to have a block. You got to be able to block the opening of the skimmer so you can get the water level pumped down. So when you're blowing that out, all the water blows clear, and the water isn't, the bulk fitting is not below water level, if that makes sense, and then you cap them. So it's pretty simple. Anything in your skimmer that would break in the freeze-thaw cycle, you want to remove. So you want to remove your basket. If you have autofill valves in there, maybe you have an iGen probe in there, you want to get rid of that and just clean everything up and put it away for the winter. All right, so that was just a quick overview on how we winter ponds over, and when we hold classes, how we tell our customers to winter them over. Everybody has a little bit different situation. If you have something that's been working for years, I'm not telling you to veer from that, but this is just how we have had luck in doing it and preparing our fish and ponds for winter. So both of our stores are located in New York. The one is in Pattersonville, New York, and the phone number is 518-887-5552. Our Latham, New York store is 518-608-5653. We have staff at both stores that'll be able to help you out with these winterization products. You can also go to our website, which is deckerspondscapes.com, and you can kind of look at everything that we have on there, pictures of our work. You'll be able to contact us. Maybe you want to send us a picture of your pond for some suggestions. We have an area to upload a photo on there. So feel free to contact us any way you'd like, but we are here to help you. And we also offer this as a service, so we do close people's ponds for them. So if we can help you in any of those ways, you just let us know. And hopefully winter's a little bit farther away than we think it is, and we'll see you soon.